Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified. Here we take important articles from The Hindu and curate it as per the demand of UPSC Civil Services Examination. The topics for today's discussion are mentioned over your screen. So let's begin our session. Dear aspirants, there is an important announcement. Rao's IAS will be conducting mains revision classes for the UPSC 2023 mains examination. Many of you would be aware of the fact that these classes have boosted the performance of many top rankers in the past, like Anandya Rashri, Namrata Chaube and Pooja Jha, and has helped them to score ranks in the top 100. So what are the features of this program? There will be around 150 hours of live online classes, which will help you in revising all important themes of all subjects in question-answer discussion mode. Further, there will be unlimited one-to-one mentorship from the teachers of Rao's IAS. This test series will simulate an exam-like experience before you take the actual examination. Plus, you will be given a timely and detailed feedback. Also, you will get all the notes from these quality improvement classes from the respective teachers, which will help you to revise all the topics. And finally, this will be a 4 hours of classes every day, from Monday to Friday, which will be provided under the expertise and guidance of teachers like Mr. Basawa Upin, Mr. Faizan Khan, Mr. Arun Bharadwaj, Mr. Gaurav Tripathi, Mr. Shashank, Mr. Vaibhav Mishra, Mr. Rajakumar, Mr. Ankit Kaul and Mr. Jatin Bharadwaj. So enroll for the course and boost your chances to score your best. The course is starting from 12th of June 2023, and to know more details you can check the link given in the description box. And we have another quick announcement for the political science optional classes by Mr. Rahul Puri. The 8 full-length tests for the optional classes are going to be started from 11th of June 2023. The timeline for these 8 FLTs is shown on your screen. For more detail to these classes, you can check the link in the description box. Now let's start today's session. The first topic of today's discussion is based on this particular article which appeared on the page number 7 of The Hindu. So the context of the article is that deepfakes, which are one of the applications of deep learning, have become a potential tool to jeopardize an individual's privacy, and it has the potential to rupture the social fabric of a nation. However, deep learning is a powerful technology. When used in a good faith, it has certain benefits. So in this article, we will be dealing with different aspects of deepfakes, like what are deepfakes, what are the issues with deepfakes, and is there any legal framework in India that deals with the challenges arising by the increasing use of deepfakes. Now, as far as the mapping of UPSC is concerned, this article is important in the GS paper 3 under the subject internal security. So this is important under the challenges to internal security through communication networks, the role of media and social networking sites in internal security challenges. Also, deepfake is an important topic in science and technology under the subsection New Emerging Technologies. UPSC in the mains examination in the year 2016 had asked this particular question, which was regarding the major security concern by the use of internet and social media by non-state actors for subversive activities. Also, in the year 2020, we found a question on different types of cyber crimes and measures required to be taken to fight the menace. Deepfake is a kind of a cybercrime and has a potential to become a major security concern. So what is a deepfake? Deepfake stands for deep learning plus fake. So it is a kind of digital media, be it audio, images or video, which are generated using artificial intelligence and advanced machine learning. And the fact the media is known as deepfake is that it is really challenging to differentiate between the original content and the fake content. You must have seen these images which were in the news recently. So you can see image 1, this is the image of the wrestlers which were detained by the police during the day of inauguration of India's new parliament. And image 2 is a morphed image which was circulated in the media to create a false narrative regarding the wrestlers. So this is just an example of the emerging concerns due to the circulation of deepfakes. Now let us see what are the issues with the circulation of deepfake technology. Now with the percolation of internet, deepfake technology is being widely used with malicious intent and which poses various challenges. The first concern is that of rising misinformation and propaganda. So as seen in the earlier image, deepfake technology has the potential to spread false information and propaganda, as it is really different to identify between the real content and fake content. And this has led to what has been termed as infodemic. This is because generally people tend to believe certain information because a machine has given that information to them. And this misinformation and propaganda can be used to set narratives. For example, to influence elections, deepfakes of opponents can be created. And another issue which arises, the damage to personal and professional reputations. The circulation of such fake videos and images can give a blow to the reputations of individuals. For example, the circulation of pornographic material using the face of any celebrity or any individual, and this can be used for extortion purposes or harassment. Another issue is deepfakes can be a threat to national security. So one example can be doctoring the videos or creating false videos which can be used to blackmail the government or defense officials to reveal the official secrets. So this could be recently seen when a doctored video of the Ukrainian president was in circulation in social media, in which he was instructing the Ukrainian soldiers to surrender. And another example can be the non-state actors can use this technology to create propaganda videos or for further radicalization or recruitment of terrorists for inciting violence. Further, the deepfake technology has a cybersecurity risk, as such fake videos or images can be used in phishing scams or to spread the malware or viruses. Also, the technology can be used in financial frauds. There have been cases where the voice samples of people have been mimicked for account verifications, or the doctored videos using the face of any particular individual who is asking for money. And finally, there are some ethical issues regarding the technology. For example, some people may deny the authenticity of any genuine video or audio or any text in which they are engaging in any inappropriate or criminal behavior by citing that any such audio or video evidence against them is created using deepfake technology. Now, since we understood the potential menace that can be caused by using deepfake technology, now is there any legal framework in India to stop this menace? The answer is no. So currently, the legal framework in India is insufficient to deal with any such kind of misuse or to address the issues that have been arisen due to the increased use of artificial intelligence. Though there are some provisions under the Indian Penal Code and the Information Technology Act 2000. For example, the Section 500 of the Indian Penal Code deals with the punishment for defamation, and Section 67 and 67A of the Information Technology Act 2000 deals with punishment for publishing or transmitting any sexually explicit material in electronic form. Also, in the Representation of People Act 1951, there is a provision which prohibits creation and distribution of false or misleading information about candidates or political parties during election period. But however, these provisions are not comprehensive and they are not sufficient to address the potential dangers posed by the deepfake content. So in this context, what is the way forward? The first solution is framing regulations and legislations for the regulation of artificial intelligence. So for the regulation of artificial intelligence in India, Government of India should frame a separate legislation like the proposed Digital India Bill, and for which the country should take information from the frameworks of other countries. For example, China has a policy that requires the service providers to ensure that any doctored content is explicitly labeled or watermarked such that it is differentiated easily and it can be traced to its original source. And European Union has a code of practice that requires the tech companies like Google, Twitter to take measures in countering deepfakes from their platforms. Also, US has a Deepfake Task Force Act that undertakes the study of deepfakes to deal with the issue. Further, India should undertake the development of technology to detect deepfakes. So with the collaborative efforts between the industry and academia, India should focus on increased investment in development of technology that can easily detect deepfakes. So finally, there is a need to build awareness using the public awareness campaign to educate people regarding the potential dangers of deepfake technology. and this will improve the media literacy among the consumers of the content of social media. The next topic for today's discussion is based on this article, which is mentioned in the page number 10 of the Hindu. So the context of this article is that India and US have concluded a roadmap for defense industrial cooperation, which shall guide the policy of the two nations towards cooperation in high technology areas and in identifying the opportunities for co-development and co-production of defense technology. So traditionally, India has been a major importer of arms from the countries like Russia, US, Israel, among others. And now, this US-India Defense Industrial Cooperation is focused on building resilient supply chains for defense technology, and for which both countries will identify opportunities for co-development of new technologies, for co-production of existing and new defense systems, and for increased collaboration between defense ecosystems of both the nations. And this India-US partnership in the defense sector is also critical for ensuring a free, open and rules-bound Indo-Pacific region. Now this topic is important for our GS paper 2 for international relations. Under the syllabus, bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interest. And further, this topic is also important for our GS paper 2 under the broad sections of defense and security. UPSC in the year 2020 had asked a question on the significance of Indo-US defense deals over the Indo-Russian defense deals. And for the Indian perspective, this cooperation is important for modernization of defense technology and also to give a boost to the indigenous defense production systems. So for today's discussion, let's focus on India's defense modernization challenges. We all are aware that the pace of modernization in the Indian armed forces over the years have been rather slow. And technologically, the Indian armed forces are subpar to the forces of US, Russia, Israel, China, among others. So this is because the Indian defense industry faces a major policy and structural challenge. Now what are these challenges? The first of which is the lacunae in military strategy to address national security. So presently India lacks a national security doctrine and the absence of a long-term defense planning. The decision-making processes on national security and strategic matters have been slow because of the complex and hierarchical structure in the decision-making process. And this complex decision-making processes is plaguing the defense acquisition procedures and which is currently managed by the Cabinet Committee on Security. So to summarize, we can say that the absence of a national security doctrine and the complex defense acquisition processes is the major bottleneck in the modernization of defense technology. Another issue is challenges with the budget allocation. As we all know that the modernization of armed forces require a huge budget allocation. And traditionally, India has been importing arms and technology from the countries such as Russia, US, Israel, among others. And to purchase such arms and ammunition, India requires a huge budget. And for that, the Standing Committee on Defense had recommended that the Ministry of Defense should allocate a fixed budget of at least 3% of Indian GDP to the defense sector to ensure adequate preparedness of the armed forces. And over the last decade, India's spending on defense has been significantly lower than this recommended level. In the budget allocation of 2023-24, the defense allocation is less than 2% of Indian GDP. So we can say that inadequate capital fund is a major shortfall for defense modernization. Another issue is challenges within the forces. There is a lack of expertise within the army in the field of weapon design and technology. And also, the Indian Army has an outdated policy of employing generalists rather than specialists in the weapon procurement. And finally, there is efficiency issue with the defense organizations. The defense organizations such as DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, OFB, that is Ordnance Factory Board, and DPSUs, that is Defense Public Sector Units, they lack efficiency and a lack of accountability for indigenous design and manufacturing of weapons. And further, the indigenous defense industry of India, which is mostly based on the public sector, is unable to provide arms and ammunitions of desired quality in a timely manner, which in turn leads to cost overrun of the existing projects. So in order to deal with such challenges, recently the Government of India has undertaken some steps. These include the launch of Innovations for Defense Excellence IDEX scheme. So it is an initiative taken by the government for the modernization of defense industry. So this initiative was launched in the year 2018. It is a major initiative of the government towards modernization of defense industry. The initiative aims to promote innovation and technology development in defense and aerospace by engaging industries such as by the involvement of MSMEs, startups, individual innovators and academia. Also, the government has established 5 DRDO Young Scientist Laboratories. These are to provide solutions in advanced technology areas using artificial intelligence, quantum technology, cognitive technologies, and smart materials to tackle the emerging challenges in the military warfare. Also, the government in the year 2022 had announced 18 major defense platforms for industry-led design and development. Also, the government has set up 2 defense corridors to attract an investment for defense industries and to strengthen the domestic supply chain and defense manufacturing ecosystem. And so far, the government has launched 3 positive indigenization lists, which consist as much as 310 defense items for domestic manufacturers. Indigenization list aims at promoting indigenous defense manufacturing. Further, the government has launched Region Portal, which is a one-stop online portal that provides access to the vendors to take up the items for indigenization. And further, the government has opened up the defense research and development for industry, startups and academia by fixing 25% of the defense research and development budget to promote development of defense technology. And further, India is looking to develop a strategic partnership model for defense production, in which the major foreign defense manufacturers will collaborate with the Indian defense manufacturers to build key defense technologies. Prepared on the page number 6 of The Hindu. The context of this article is that recently OPEC Plus, which is Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, and the world's largest grouping of crude oil producers, has agreed to extend the ongoing oil production cuts into the year 2024. So as there are concerns about a global economic slowdown, that is why OPEC Plus has agreed to cut the production of crude oil in order to stop the global crude oil prices from falling. So what are the implications of this oil production cut for India? As we know that India imports more than 80% of its crude oil requirement, and hence this supply curtailment is going to push up the global oil prices, and the impact of which will be seen in India as the rise in price of petroleum and diesel in India. And now the article says that India must bring pump prices of petrol and diesel in line with the global oil prices. So in the course of the discussion, we will see what are the components which impact the retail price of petrol and diesel in India. Also, we will discuss the demand of inclusion of petrol and diesel under the goods and services tax. So before it, let us briefly discuss what is OPEC and OPEC Plus. OPEC stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. This grouping was formed in the year 1960 and currently it comprises of 13 members. So in this diagram, the countries on the left hand side represent the OPEC members, the largest of which is Saudi Arabia. And the other members include Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iran, Angola, Nigeria, Algeria, Libya, Venezuela, Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea. So what does OPEC do? So OPEC meets regularly in order to set the oil production targets in order to manage the global oil prices. And now let's talk about OPEC Plus. So in the year 2016, OPEC members signed an agreement with 10 other oil producing countries, among which the largest was Russia. So these 10 oil producing countries include Russia, Mexico, Kazakhstan, Oman, Azerbaijan, Malaysia, Bahrain, South Sudan, Brunei and Sudan. Now these 13 members plus these 10 members together form the world's largest grouping of oil producing countries that comprises of 23 members. And these countries together play a major role in influencing the global oil prices. Now let us see how the retail price of petroleum and diesel is determined in India. On a daily basis, we can see the fluctuation in the prices of petrol and diesel in India. Now, The public sector oil marketing companies revise the retail prices of petrol and diesel in India on a daily basis. And this is according to the changes in price of global crude oil. Now the price which is charged to a consumer includes following components. The first component is base price set by the oil marketing companies. So the oil marketing company import the crude oil, refine it and then sell it to the dealers. And the basic price of which depends on several parameters like global crude prices, expected future crude prices, local taxes, transshipment cost, that is international shipping cost, apart from the cost of refining. And hence this base price may be different for different oil marketing companies. Another component is freight price, which includes the cost of transporting oil to the dealers across India. The retail price also includes dealer commissions. It also consists of the taxes and surcharges charged by the central government. It includes the basic excise duty, agricultural infrastructure and development cess, road and infrastructure cess. Apart from this tax by the central government, there are other taxes by the state governments, which include sales tax and value added tax. And hence, the price of petrol and diesel vary from city to city, depending upon the charges by the state governments. And usually, the share of taxes in the retail price is over 40%. So there is a demand from consumers that if petrol and diesels are included in GST, this will help in lowering the retail price of petrol and diesel. And why is it so? Because under the maximum tax slab of GST, which is currently 28%, the consumers will end up paying a much lesser price than they are presently paying. As discussed presently, the component of shares in the retail price is more than 40%. And inclusion in GST will help to lower the price. And as GST subsumes or includes all other taxes, there will be no cascading effects of taxes or multiple taxations. But the issue is that most of the states in India are unwilling to include petrol and diesel under the GST bracket. This is because the states generate a considerable amount of revenue from taxing petroleum products, and each state has its own taxation structure for these products. And the states, even under the maximum tax slab of GST, will earn a lot less as compared to what they are earning right now. And further, few states in India have demanded that if petrol and diesel are brought under GST, then the central government should compensate these states for any deficit in revenue. But there is no such commitment which is given by the central government. Now a question arises. Will the inclusion of petroleum under goods and services tax solve this problem? Or is the final remedy? The answer is probably not. Because in the short run, this inclusion of petroleum under GST will help lower the prices of petrol and diesel. But eventually, as petroleum is a fossil fuel and non-renewable, the consumers will have to start shifting towards renewable energy options for sustainable growth and development, to save the forex reserves of India, and to prevent India from any geopolitical shocks. And further, this will help India attain its nationally determined contribution. So the next topic for today's discussion is based on this article which appeared on the page number 5 of The Hindu. The context of the article is that the Tamil Nadu Forest Department officials tranquilized a wild elephant which will be released in the Kalakad Mundanthurai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. So let us know a few facts about this tiger reserve. Kalakad Mundanthurai Tiger Reserve is located in the southwestern tip of India. It is located in the Tirunelveli and the Kanyakumari district of the state of Tamil Nadu. So you can see the location of this tiger reserve in this map. The tiger reserve consists of 3 wildlife sanctuaries. These are Kalakad Wildlife Sanctuary, Mudanthurai Wildlife Sanctuary and a part of Kanyakumari Sanctuary. This tiger reserve is a part of Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve and the second largest protected area in Tamil Nadu. So an astonishing fact about the tiger reserve is that this is also known as River Sanctuary, as this is the place of origin to around 14 rivers, among which the major river is Thamira Barani. If we talk about the flora of this reserve, it comprises of mixed vegetation, ranging from dry thorn forest to dry deciduous, moist deciduous, and wet evergreen forest. The important fauna found in this forest is lion-tailed macaque. So this is an old world monkey which is endemic to Western Ghat. It also comprises of Nilgiri thar, Nilgiri pipit, grey-headed bulbul, blue-winged parakeet, tiger, elephant, among others. So the location of this tiger reserve becomes important as UPSC has been asking questions regarding the locations of important protected areas like Tiger Reserve, Biosphere Reserve, Wildlife Sanctuaries, among others. In the year 2019, we found this question about Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve, the answer to which is option A. The next topic for today's discussion is based on this article which appeared on the page number 12 of The Hindu. Now the context of this article is that recently the National Institutional Ranking Framework has announced the ranking of higher educational institutions in India for the year 2023. So what is National Institutional Ranking Framework? It is a ranking methodology adopted by the Ministry of Education to rank the institutions of higher education in India. The framework was launched in the year 2015 by the erstwhile Ministry of Human Resources and Development. The ranking of the institution is based on following 5 parameters. These are teaching, learning and resources. This includes the student strength including doctoral students, faculty-student ratio among others. Another parameter is research and professional practice. This includes the number of research papers published. The third parameter is graduation outcomes. It includes the number of placements, the median salary of the placed students among others. Fourth parameter is outreach and inclusivity. It includes the percentage of students from other states or countries, the students from socio and economically backward sections and women students among others. And the fifth parameter is perception, which includes peer perception and public perception. And for the year 2023, this is the ranking of the institution, which have been topped by the Indian Institute of Technology Madras. The institute is followed by Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru and Indian Institute of Technology Delhi.